Who's your successor? It's a family business. Everybody has a family business of some sort, even if it's just the family home, even if it's just the family bank account. Uh, in all my years, when we're looking at making a will, writing a will, and considering the options, when it comes to reading the will, somebody's died, you're not here anymore, you've written your will, you've left your family property, investment and business to your family. The will dictates how it will be redistributed for them and for their benefit. And generally, we find that it takes about 6 minutes when reading a will for the family to say how long before I get the money. And really that's generally the primary thing. When somebody dies, somebody is already needs the money, or is urgently needs the money, and the probate process can take time. For example, every probate administration has to be advertised, and then there has to be a minimum wait period of six weeks before the administration process can kick in. So there's bureaucracy all the way, there's tax clearances need to be done, the debts of an estate need to be paid, and all the liabilities need to be paid before the property, the business, and the investments can be distributed to the beneficiaries. And on top of that, don't forget, you've got inheritance tax and capital gains tax liabilities. Those are among the debts that are created on an estate, with a tax return that has to be done on the estate before the assets can be distributed. That tax assessment creates a debt that becomes a priority before you, the family, your children, can benefit from that estate. That could potentially take years to get resolved, and it can be complicated as well. And bless, but we try and sort that out. And at Private Partnership, we know how. We know how to protect your property, your family, and your business across border, as well as in your home country, from the cost and delay of probate and from the squabbling. What we can see at the moment in the autumn of 2024, we can see a succession moment going on, discussing the family trust of Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch, very successful man, age 93. He's already got all his family assets, 15 billion pounds worth of assets, tied up in a family trust. That means that the whole of his news empire, his property investments, and all his assets for the family are protected in a trust. There's no probate, there's no additional taxes and liabilities. The taxes are all known and controlled and managed within the family trust, and there's no probate and no administration to be done. So nothing can go wrong, except that he made that family trust some years ago. He made it so that nobody can change it, everything is okay. But when you control the biggest media empire in the world, therein lies the issue. Now, if you look at the small print, it's not open in public, but there is documentation surrounding it. The family trust, with the shares in News Corporation and the various newspapers, TV channels and media around the world, the News Corporation has got 8 votes on the News Corporation. The Murdoch Family Trust has got 8 votes on the News Corporation empire. Okay, now 4 of those belong to the shares to the trust and the beneficiaries of the trust, which is for the 4 children. The other 4 voting shares belong to Rupert Murdoch, but of course when he dies, those at the moment those shares are due to revert to the 4 children equally. Now that's a good idea, except that and it was irreversible in law, except that now 93-year-old Rupert Murdoch wants to change that so that the control and the deciding decisions of the trust are changed from an equal share of the 4 children to one son who would run the whole business in the manner that he wants it to be continued as his legacy. The problem is that he made a good decision in terms of managing it during his lifetime, but now he's lived so long, he wants to change that, and he wants to change the balances of that, so that instead of after his death the 8 votes are split equally between the 4 children, he wants something else, and the suggestion is to give one managing director, one chief executive of the family, control of the deciding votes, in the same way that he's got the 4 votes against the 4 of the children, so he can never be outdone. Now normally with the family trust you'd have a protector during the lifetime. They can have that sway on the decisions of the trust, but we're talking now about after he's dead. Now at 93 he's still going strong, and he's just remarried again for the 6th time, and therein lies a bit more of the problem as well. Now we don't know this, but you know, another part of the complication is that since the family trust was set up with the 4 children as beneficiaries, he's actually had a couple more marriages and 2 more children, and the 2 younger children are 30 years younger than the main family group of the 4 children. So is there some complication there? But still, that doesn't matter. Those 2 younger children after the divorce are protected. The family trust is still protected. During his lifetime he can create new wealth, or he can gift new wealth to the new family, to the new generation, but divorce and marriage isn't going to compromise the family arrangement. And this is another big thing. If you want to leave assets to your daughter or to your son or to your children, if they are married, their spouse has an equal share of anything that they inherit. So if you leave £1,000 to your son, and then he gets divorced a year later, his spouse will have half of that inheritance from you. Now you may be very happy with that, you may not care about that, but again, a family trust can protect those arrangements and make sure that the family property, investments and business stays in the family control, which is what Rupert Murdoch did, except that now he wants to, what he didn't foresee in his family trust is the appointing of a chief executive of that family investment trust fund. The Duke of Westminster isn't the richest man in Britain. He's in control or a major chairman of the trustees of the Duke of Westminster Trust, the Marlborough estate, created by the Duke of Marlborough from the 17th century. So you know, all those assets for the Duke of Westminster are held within the family trust, but he has an influential vote in that, which Rupert Murdoch has got during his lifetime. He hasn't got a successor, and it's that succession which is the point of their dispute, and their it's not necessarily a dispute, but it's a legal hearing to get a judgment of the change and the arrangements of that. So Parak know-how, if you want to protect your family business, property and investments across border and down generations, and you don't want to trust in the family making the right decisions, you want to avoid the cost and delay of probate, you can make those decisions now to protect your assets from a tax grab for capital gains or inheritance tax from government changes, from divorce, from family disputes, and from things that could go wrong, so that you can create an enduring family trust that could last down the generations, 1, 2, 3, 400 years or more. For more information, guidance how to get started and what to do, contact us at ParakPartnership.com.